Really? Oh, hey everyone, this is Joe from ActionX. Welcome back. Or welcome to, goddamn, I keep making the same mistake. Welcome to the Nancy Drew episode 4 review here on What's on the Tube. Before you ask if you're coming just from the Nancy Drew episode 2 and 3 episode review, and I'm wearing the same shirt, no, this doesn't mean I didn't take a shower. It's just that I switch shirts often, so whenever I'm not when I'm not recording a video, I wear my loose shirts, which you kind of saw in the first episode of Nancy Drew, that review. That was a mistake on my part because I literally had just done laundry and I did not have that much shirts to work with. So that was my only choice. Plus, it was almost bedtime. I kind of wanted to go to bed right away. Plus, I mean, I literally take this shirt off like afterwards. But don't worry, the next episode will be fine. I'll be in a different shirt. Just gonna get that speculation out of the way before you say, oh, I don't take a shower. I do take a shower. It's just... Never mind. Anywho, let's get down to it. After, well, technically, I just did the review yesterday, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. So picking up on episode 4, it was honestly like, as I said before, like the premiere hype / premiere like expectations died down a little bit as we're now diving into the season, and definitely my expectations have obviously now simmered a bit. It's now, okay, so now we're going to have 2 season-long mysteries, and it seems like we're still not close enough to figuring out what's going to happen. And especially now after this episode, they're definitely now doubling down the supernatural in front of this. And I don't know how I really feel about it, because, I don't know, like, I like the supernatural aspects, but I kind of like feel like I kind of want a basic mystery show, which I know... Not every show has to have something special. I get that. I understand that. It's just, again, I'm still feeling that whole nostalgia. Like, I want just a classic mystery solving. So having the supernatural, now that I'm thinking about it, is like kind of a little cheap. No offense, especially as we were wrapping towards the end of this episode. It kind of felt a little cheap. I mean, it would have happened naturally, but I don't know. Anywho, so let's get down to it. So, with this episode, we're definitely focusing more on Bess. That was her name. If you're watching from the last review, I didn't know her name. Her name was Bess. I don't know why. I thought her name was Maria or something. But she looked Hispanic. And then as soon as, like, I mean, she could be Hispanic, but as we get later into the episode. And before I continue, there will be spoilers for this episode of Nancy Drew. So please see that episode before you watch this review, before you get spoiled too. So they definitely focus more on Bess, Nancy, and George. This, I mean, it's weird. They focus, like... Okay, let me collect my thoughts a little bit better here. Last week was more on Nick. This week was more on Beth, as we get to learn more about her own character, as well as we're continuing minorly plots of the other ones. And honestly, picking up where the last episode left off, it's safe to say, at least at this point, again, I don't know, this is a mystery show, anything can happen. They definitely ruled out Bess as a suspect by the end of this episode, and we get to see some of her motivations in terms of like her character for the season, the show, and it was actually quite interesting. I was not expecting that. I'm not even going to call it a twist, more like that revelation towards the middle of the episode. I was not expecting that at all. And so let's start at the beginning here. So last episode, Nancy invited Bess to her house to kind of stay the night while she's fixing her van. And they're apparently for some reason, every sort of like glass screen gets broken. They get a replay of the video from Nancy's camera or Nancy's phone from the night that the wife died. I know they mentioned her name so many times in this episode, and I just out the window. Anywho, it's still like I said before, they're definitely doubling down the supernatural elements, especially with this episode. I know we got like a little bit, we got pieces of it in the last 3 episodes, but this one we were really pushing hard on it, but we weren't getting the Dead Lucy, which again now I finally remember her name. I remember her name now. Dead Lucy. We weren't getting that, so apparently there's a second ghost happening here in Horseshoe Bay. Is that right? Horseshoe Bay. It sounds weird, but anywho. So apparently we're getting another ghost, so that's kind of like dubbing things differently. Of course, obviously, with any sort of like, are you a suspect thing, the show is actually making Bess feel like there's something about her, there's something suspicious. Nancy obviously doesn't trust her 100% because like there's so many questions and holes in her story and stuff like that. And And then that's all like thrown out of the window. Like we completely take a stop on that, but we got a new person in town. That's right, a new person comes to town. It's only episode 4. What more can we do? It's actually the wife's sister, her rich playgirl sister, which honestly she doesn't act like much of a playgirl. I can't really get a feel of her. Anywho, she's in town obviously for the funeral because apparently they already figured out the cost of death, which was natural causes. And ironically, in the last episode, they said apparently according to the prenup, there's a clause where if she died of natural causes, then the husband would get the money. And so that's ironic, but obviously we know like he set this whole thing up just so he can get the money. It was actually quite. I honestly would have wanted to slap the hell out of him had I been in that scene where they were finishing up the funeral like parts, the pre-funeral stuff before the funeral actually began. And the first question one of the first questions he had was like, "So when do I get my money?" Yeah, you don't. Okay, I understand that if you're financially strapped for cash while you're trying to pay for this wedding, I would understand asking that because like you got bills to pay, you got credit card debts to pay off, you got a bunch of expenses coming your way. I get that, but consider the fact that his attitude, the way he said it, it's like he's not a good person. He's definitely not a good person. I still feel like he did the murder, but we just don't know how or why just yet. And honestly, I really hate him. But anyway, that's why the funeral's happening because supposedly they have a cause of death. They want to wrap this whole thing up, close the case. Everyone's considering like this is a close case. We're gonna move on with our life. We're gonna move on. This summer's over. We're moving the hell on. And I understand that. Like having a murder in such a small town, like of course anyone would want to like get a quick conclusion. Obviously, our titular character says no. There's something more at play here, and she's gonna keep figuring that out. And eventually, we do figure out later on, as we return to the Claw, that they do figure out eventually that Bess did have her engagement ring, though her reasoning was that, no, I found it on the ground, so I picked it up. I didn't know it was her until after the investigation began, so she didn't want to say anything, because if obviously would have attracted suspicion from her, and this came immediately after she got attacked by a ghost. So, a lot of things with this ring over here, if you know what I mean. She's the ring is like the if I'm remembering from my supernatural, like the supernatural show elements, is that if there's a specific item that is tied into the current world, the ghosts can use that as a way to like anchor themselves before they go to the afterlife. And that was it. Also, before I continue further, we got Ace over here, still defying expectation. There's still more to Ace I want to know of. I wonder if the next episode is an Ace episode, because we got a Bess episode, we got a Nick episode. Oh, we still need George, so I guess George would be. I don't know. I want to know more about Ace's backstory, because apparently he has a working relationship, such working agreement with the head detective of this case, and he's been tasked to kind of follow this sister of the dead wife. And he's immediately okay with it, because like that's the agreement they had. Supposedly he had an issue with the law. He made an agreement. Like, ironically, what the rookie did this week, like a confidence or something, but. So, is he confident? I don't know. There's still the question of the whole weed guy text we got before. So, is he trying to break up a weed investigation, or is he involved in weed and he hasn't necessarily left that life yet? I don't really know. I need to know more about Ace. We need to know more about him. But Ace is on the undercover front on that front for this week, so he's not really with the main group that much. In this episode, George decides to like pitch in and figure out like, okay, I'm gonna help out. I got someone who can help us out. It turns out to be her own mother. Obviously was not expecting her mother to, like, appear that soon. I don't know why. It's like, whenever people mention parents, like, the titular characters, like, friends, they usually never get their parents introduced till later on. And I was not expecting George's mom to be introduced this early, but it sounds like she's kind of connected to the spiritual stuff. She's into ghosts. And apparently she said, like, yeah, the ring is cursed. You got to put it back on the dead wife's hand before, you know, she gets buried until you're gonna get haunted for the rest of your life if you don't put it back. So that's what they do. That's what they planned out. But Bess is scared as hell, and she doesn't want to do it. So George quickly decides, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the solid, because apparently, I think they mentioned this in episode 2. I didn't mention it in episode 2, the review, or maybe I did. Yeah, my memory sucks, because like I literally just reviewed those episodes yesterday and I've already forgotten. she was the other woman that the husband was sleeping with. So, did I make a joke about George sleeping with older men? I don't remember. Either way, that'll be the joke for this week. Anywho, so they're going to go to the funeral. They're going to do this. They're going to bring him back and kind of put an end to that front of the investigation. So back to Ace before we continue further. Ace apparently already has a connection with the sister of the dead wife. Apparently they had a fling with Summer, and then she left to gallivant the world, and it didn't end well. And there's clearly some untapped feelings there. And she's also another important thing to point out is that the sister knows that there's absolutely no way she died of natural causes. There was foul play out here, and she definitely she wants to figure it out because she thinks it's unfair that the husband's family is trying to get the money so that they could. And there's really just more piling evidence for the husband and his family to they're involved in this somehow, and we need to figure out what he did. And that's sort of where we leaving. We get to the funeral where kind of all the plots kind of converge. We get back to Nick. Nick doesn't really have that much of a prevalence in this episode. He's got the bonds. He's trying to hide them until maybe he gets to use them eventually once this whole thing blows over. He hides them in a safe, but he hides a camera. Because obviously, if you got $5 million in a safe at a very unproductive car shop. Okay, I was thinking of another term. Car shop. Then obviously someone could easily break in and take the money. So he left the camera just in case. So I'm going to give him a bit credit on that. So we get back to the funeral home. Everyone's converging. Ace tells the detective she's clean. She has nothing to do with this. She doesn't know anything more about this than we do. George gets to drop the ring, but then she almost gets caught by the husband and his dad. And why do I remember this dad, the dad of the husband, from somewhere? He is from somewhere. I swear to God. I've seen him before. I think he was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I believe so. He's always just a freaking dick. Every time he shows up in any show, he's always the dick. He's the dick of everything. But anywho, even he's yeah, you should have, this was a waste of a marriage. So obviously there's something more to this family that I want to figure out as we continue further. But anyway, George gets to put the ring on her, and we're moving on with the episode. Bess was apparently supposed to be on lookout, but she just dipped all of a sudden, and then Nancy confronts her, I need to know what you are, because earlier she found a European passport in her locker, and obviously with a different name, so there was a lot of questions who are you, what's going on? And apparently she's British. That's the whole thing. So much that was the whole episode. She's British. Anywho, no disrespect. I mean, no disrespect. It was just I wasn't expecting that. That was the thing that oh, that's honestly was not expecting that. I knew, I honestly thought this was going to be the simple she was the rich girl, but then her aunt and her parents kicked her out, so now she's on her own. That's what I honestly thought for her to be. And well, her being from, so she's from Europe. I forget. I think she said London. I'm not sure what she exactly said. She came from there. Apparently, her mom kept talking to her so many times during her life that we're connected to this family back in America, so we're rich, we're successful down there, while they're poor, living in London. I assume. I think it's London. I really think it's London. I could be wrong though. And then eventually, when something happened with her family, she doesn't want to live there anymore, so she moved to America to get the Horseshoe Bay and then started living this life. But it turns out, since this is a small town, word gets around quickly, and people assume, oh, she is a member of this family, even though there is no 100% certainty on it. But it's kind of she wants this life. She wants to be rich. She wants to have a good life. But because she thinks that because she's biologically related, she earns it. But I do believe she's going to get a hard lesson on that later on in the season, because I don't know if she is. We don't know. This is the one thing. She needs to get a DNA test and figure that out. Well, is she? I really don't know. I really can't get. I can't get that for you. So we get to the actual funeral part. The sister blatantly reveals to everyone, no, this is not over. There's something more at play. I'm going to figure it out. And it's that thing I love in my couch is slowly falling apart over here. Is that thing in every episode not every episode, in every show and TV movie that I love so much is when the bad guys they're showing them they're winning. They're they think that no one can stop them, and then one of the good people say that, hey, I know the truth. I'm gonna keep fighting no matter what. And I really love when people say no matter what. And I don't think she said it in this game, but the moment she said she's not gonna stop until she finds the killer, it kind of gave me like, fuck yeah, she's. And I saw the face of the guy, the dick dad. I don't know like the actor's name. I'm sorry, but I can tell like, oh, she's gonna be a problem. She's gonna ruin everything. We gotta win. We gotta keep winning. We gotta get that money. So they wrap it up there, and we actually do get a pretty somber scene with Nancy and her dad. Obviously, the last 4 episodes has been building this tension, this separation, this wedge in between them. And we finally get to realize why Nancy has so much issues with her dad, and it kind of like we're still figuring out more about her past. Apparently, while her mom was near death, there was this winter formal that she didn't want to go to because she wanted to spend time with her mom before she goes. But her mom was like, "No, you need to go. You need to enjoy your senior year. You never know when you're gonna have these moments again." It's understandable, and she lets her go. But however, when she comes back from the dance, her mom's dead, and the reason why she got mad at her dad was because he didn't call her as soon as this happened, so she could rush over and try and maybe be there at the end, but he didn't call her at all. And honestly, I'm not a father. I'm not, but you don't want your child's last memories of you to be in depression mode. It sucks. Like, life doesn't stop if someone else's life stops. Obviously, you're going to be there. You're going to want to be there until their end, but you can, 100% stop your own life. Especially senior year of high school is such a very, a special year because, that's kind of the last year of your childhood. Because once you go off to college, you're going to get older. Even her mom knew, hey, you need to have these memories. You need to have this experience. You can't let me hold it down. And I do understand Nancy's point too. She wanted to be there at the end of her mom's life. But at least for me now, looking outside as a viewer, I view that as she at least got to see one. The last thing she got to see of her mom was a one smile before she went away. And honestly, that as for understanding that for the parent, for the mom in this case, I think she made the right call. I honestly did. But will Nancy learn that eventually? Who knows? So her and her dad kind of mend things a little bit more. She gets to have a talk with her mom. With the whole supernatural elements at play, Nancy's wondering why isn't my mom here? Why isn't she haunting us? Because why? And frankly, considering that I've watched so much supernatural stuff, well, not only is there an item not anchoring her to the world, it's that I feel like she has this semblance of peace. She's able to move on to the afterlife. Where I understand it's a crappy thing, but it's if she's able to move on, let her move on. But meanwhile, on the Georgia front, her prediction on her dying in the next year is not helping her case because she's having this last summer talk with the wife because she wanted to apologize for, hey, listen, I'm sorry I banged your husband. I'm sorry we cheated on you. I'm really sorry. And this whole I'm not sure if she can see it or this was just for the camera or for the audience, but it's then there's this white fog starts appearing around her it's a manifestation of the dead wife's ghost. And I don't think I'm forgetting anything else. So yeah, this is kind of where we wrap things up. Actually, no. So Nancy's dad actually publicly denounces the status of the cause of death. He said, no, there's something more here. And then the husband and his dad's you really screwed us over here, pal. You're not going to get away with this. And obviously, he just walks away. I actually like Nancy's dad a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Still would have preferred Freddie Prinze Jr. Anywho. Yeah, that kind of wraps the episode best. Is it just me, or do I kind of like Bess with the American accent? I understand that's insensitive. I get that, but I was so used to the American accent, so it's I kind of wanted to switch back whenever we're back with the group. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens next week. And I think that was, Nick finds out apparently the sister went to his place, but she didn't take the bomb, but she had some USB drive. I'm not sure if she took it or she left it. I think she took it. So what did Nick have in his USB drive? We don't know. And Ace and the sister have a summer moment before, I'm presumably, they're going to resume their, if you know what I mean. And and then Nancy barely gets this, she gets this realization that all the cracked screens throughout the episode turns out to be a representation of the map from, the representation of the map from Horseshoe Bay, and she finds the epicenter in the middle of it to be her old high school, which ironically is named Keene High School, and we're getting a show on the CW called Kathy Clean, and there's evidence to play that we're doing, I wonder. Anywho, speculation over. So she goes to the high school and she finds out that apparently her dad's new girlfriend, one of the detectives, actually knew Dead Lucy. So the plot is slowly thickening over here. So what does this all mean? We'll have to wait till next week. Or until the season's over. That was it. I'm sorry if I just did like a whole recap session. That's not really how I should be doing things, but guess what? I'm grasping at straws here. I'm kidding. I'm just really zoned out. It's getting really late. It's getting close to midnight. Actually, has the review went for that long? I have to double check time codes when this is over. Anywho, so overall, I enjoyed this episode. I really did. I think this was a much better episode than episode 4. Even though I'm still on the fence with the supernatural elements being more at the forefront here, I'm still loving the characters. I'm loving the direction the story's now interesting taken. It's a mystery, so they were slowly getting new pieces every single week, and I'm starting to enjoy that factor now as the commitment of that. Okay, we're probably not going to get the mystery of the week at all till maybe later in the season. So this is just we're slowly just getting this unraveling of the two big mysteries. So I get that. I understand that. So now with the expectations now lowered to that standard, I'm enjoying the show more. I'm trying to think what else I want to say before I sign off. I think. I think the show's this season. So the show's slowly getting a little bit better in my eyes. I'm starting to enjoy it a little bit more, so I can't wait to see where things end up next week. The promo is definitely very interesting, and I'm just curious. I'm still curious to see how long this mystery's going to go for. Are we going to go past the mid-season point, or we're going to end in the mid-season finale and then have a cliffhanger? I don't know. So now it's time for Joe's Mystery Corner as we figure out who is still who do we think, who has done it in this case. Dead Lucy, is it going to be a love quadrangle? Because are we going to get so my new theory is that considering the fact we figured out that the detective, the dad's current girlfriend, knew Dead Lucy. So my theory is that this guy, the dad, he's a player. He has 3 separate girls, and then 2 of them, I don't know. I still think the dad has some sort of role to do with this. Is he the killer? I don't think so, but I do think he had a role to play. But the person whoever did push off Lucy, I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. In front of I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. My grammar's so off. And as for the dead wife case, I still think it's the husband. The family has something to play here, and I really hope when they do get a revelation of it, I just want to lock them up in jail. That's what you get. You don't get any money. You spend time in jail. Don't drop the soap. Anywho, overall, this episode, Nancy Drew, 2 thumbs up for me. I'm going to wrap it here. So, if you were unaware, this was What's on the Tube. I hope you enjoyed your nap, if you were having one. If you want to know more what's coming up on What's on the Tube, next up after this is the Doom Patrol Season 1 review. That will be coming up this Saturday. The Rookie next Monday. And then we'll be back with another episode of Nancy Drew next week. I think we're getting a break soon. I think a 1-week break, because usually a lot of the shows they get a 1-week break during the fall portion. So I will let you know when that is. But next week we have an episode, so no breaks here. And I think that's it. I think that's all I have planned for now. But if you want to know more about us here at ActionX, please subscribe, like this video, share it, favorite it. That's it. So I'm gonna see you guys next week. Peace out.